For me, it was definitely not paradise. It was not paradise at all. It was actually really hard and even painful. Hi everyone, my name is Claire, and in this one I'm going to be sharing 5 reasons that are potential deal breakers for me being out in the BLM land, specifically in Arizona near Quartzsite. These are very specific, like to car camper issues, and they are also season specific. So a lot of issues I would usually have, I did not have. So just kind of go into it, understanding the context of it, that these are not the most major issues, but they are issues that being somebody who sleeps in their car, lives out of their car part-time on vacations, going to events like the RTR or meetups and all kinds of stuff in the desert, these are definite deal breakers. And a lot of them I did not even see coming. In fact, all of them I did not even see coming. I did not think that these would be issues, but they were. Number one, as much as I enjoyed having all of my camping stuff, my big rug that I would put outside for my dog and us to hang out on, to lounge on, camping equipment, all that good stuff, I never anticipated just how much the dust would collect on these items. Even when I tried to shake them out and clean them as best as possible, I would still be forced to bring them into the cabin of the car and park them kind of in the front. And the dust from these items, especially the rug, it got in my eyes and my contacts. I ruined a few pairs of contacts. It became quite unmanageable to have these items coming directly from outside into the vehicle. So if I ever do this again, let's just say I will not do this again until I have a cargo box installed on the roof. So that's something you definitely want to keep in mind. Number 2, it was an issue. We're talking about going off grid here, okay? And my car does not have a bathroom. So, I mean, it does not have a formal bathroom as far as like, it does not, I mean, it's a small space. It does not have like a composting toilet or anything like that. And this was a really big issue. And I thought I could solve this issue. And the issue, I could solve it for maybe like a little while. It would be okay if I was by myself. But it turned out that I was not able to attend several meetups that I had wanted to go to because of this issue. And I know that there are LTVAs and all that stuff, but I'm not interested in going to an LTVA. I really disdain the idea of having to park close to the bathrooms, and it's going to bring in another reason I'm going to talk about in a little while, and it just further complicates, further exacerbates that whole situation. So I'm not into that. And this wasn't like a real problem because, yeah, I could like deal with it like by myself, but not in a group meetup situation. So that was a really big problem. Number 3 was the ability to work out. And I'm not talking about just going to a gym. Yes, you can go join a gym. I could go join Planet Fitness. I've had a Planet Fitness membership. That's fine for cardio. But for myself personally, I need to get on that mat several times a week. And for me, it is something that, I don't know, might be, I'm a bit neurotypical. I do have ADHD and I have some anxiety. And for me, getting on that mat and just having that contact with that mat and doing those exercises, the weights I lift, and just the leg raises and the stretching and the like yoga moves and stuff, is something that really grounds me. And I started to really struggle after about a week of not having that. I think it's something I sort of thought I would try and do outside, even in a secluded area. It was not comfortable for me personally. It did not work out. And that's something that I really miss. And I'm not sure how that can be solved in my current car. Number 4 was I felt intimidation being in a small car. I had like a little bit of an inferiority complex, and I don't think that you should have an inferiority complex. I don't think there's anything shameful about being in your car. But the truth is that it's not easy when you're out there in the BLM land in the dispersed camping and you're just surrounded by RVs and big rigs. And it's nothing against them, okay? It's not about that. This is just about my situation. I found myself not being entirely comfortable. And sometimes, like ATVs, like those little cars, they would zoom by me. And sometimes those, I have like a very tiny Ford Fiesta, and this thing is tiny. And sometimes I would feel like some of those little desert buggies that would like run around, and they would almost like swirl around my car. And sometimes I would feel like they were almost bigger than my car. And it was just an intimidating feeling when you're like the smallest one on the lot. And it's a very, not lot, desert. It's a very vulnerable feeling. It is really intimidating because you could be next to an RV, and obviously there's a lot of people. It looks like there's a lot of people in the RV, and then when you have a small car like this, it's pretty obvious that there's probably only one person, maybe two, probably just one in that car. I mean, that's the assumption that I usually make when I see a small car, like a sedan or a small hatchback. There could very well be more than one person, but I usually think it's just one person. And it's a vulnerable feeling. It's very vulnerable. And I wasn't expecting that. That's something that almost plays to my benefit when I'm stealth camping, when I'm in the city. Having that small car, I get to stay off the radar. The RVs, like, they're the ones who are more likely going to get like the knock or something. And I feel like I have the freedom to go all these places in my small car. But in the desert on that BLM land, that was one situation where I really felt that I was more vulnerable. And it was almost like I felt like I was in a fishbowl. And maybe everybody feels like that because it's kind of an open situation. But I really think that I would have been happier in a bigger truck or something like an SUV, like a big SUV. I'm sure I would have felt more confident. And I know that may sound superficial, but I'm just being real with everybody. That's how I felt. It wasn't a deal breaker for me, but it doesn't exactly make me excited about going out there again. The fifth reason was I dealt with a lot of loneliness. Personally, Quartzsite, Arizona was very hard for me. I really struggled in Quartzsite a lot. I am an introvert, and I know that there are solutions for this, but I just really struggled. I felt overwhelmed in Quartzsite. Again, just all the RVs, and it was very busy, and I very much struggled with loneliness in the desert. It was hard for me to be by myself camping when there were just people around me camping together. I found that to be a very lonely feeling, and I didn't like it. And I almost felt less lonely when I was just completely by myself, or if I was just stealth camping, like at a Walmart or somewhere in the city. It felt less lonely. There's something about you being by yourself while watching other people having fun together that was a little bit emotionally heavy for me, and it put a damper on my spirits. So, are all of these deal breakers? Not necessarily, but there definitely have to be some changes. And I'm really convinced that the number two issue was something that really played into some other factors, like the loneliness. I had planned to go to a couple of meetups, but I realized that this was not going to be able to happen because of not being self contained in a vehicle. So, I am exploring the idea of installing a toilet situation into my car. It's not something that's going to happen immediately because it's not going to be a cheap option. If I do this, it's not going to be the cheapest option. It's going to be something that is good, that works. And so that's not going to happen right away. And the same with the cargo box. I'm hoping that if I can go into it with some of these problems solved. I'm also thinking about maybe added structures that I could add to the car camper. I'm very sensitive about tents. I know some of you have suggested rooftop tents and things like that, carrying tents. My last dog died of cancer. It was very traumatic, and I don't know if my camping material caused that. She had lymphoma. I don't know. I will never know. But when a bell goes off in your head, I'm going to listen to it. And I'm going to be very careful about what I bring into this car. I don't want to bring toxic materials into this car. And I am saving up for a high quality tent that is made by a company that does not use like fire retardants. in their products. So anything I would look for, it's not going to be a quick fix. It's going to be something that requires a lot of research, time, and resources to put into it. But I do have some ideas, and my Amazon cart does have some solutions in it. I'm not like going through with those quite yet because I'm still in the research stage, but I haven't quite given up on going on BLM land yet. It definitely did not feel like the paradise that it looked like on YouTube. And I know that a lot of those YouTubers would come back and they would probably be very sincere and say, you know, hey, look, we never claimed it was paradise. And I understand that. I understand how filmmaking goes. Sometimes things look different from how they really are, and personal circumstances can play into the outcome. But I think that for me, it was definitely not paradise. It was not paradise at all. It was actually really hard and even painful. So I will be making some changes to my rig before I go and do that again. I will be getting the cargo box. I will be coming up with a workable toilet situation, and I will need to have some kind of outhouse, so to speak, in order to carry out my daily activities like my exercise, which I find so useful, and a mechanism to carry all that stuff on the roof. So it is a lot in front of me. It's not cheap to do this stuff, so it will take a little time, but I have a year to do it. So if I go back again, I'd love to hear your experiences on courtside. Did you go and then not like it and then go back and you liked it? Did you love it at first sight? Did you never like it? I'd love to know your thoughts. Thank you. Bye.